gentlemen, welcome back to the Turf Talk Podcast. It is episode 24, and I'm your host, Gabe Dowd, and joining me are my two lovely co-hosts, Nick Walters, Big Wop, you know him, you love him, and Dom Capuano, the man himself, the legend who sits in the dark little... You got to start wearing brighter colors, buddy. I need you to.
Listen, I just
found out... For the sake
of
our thumbnails, please.
I just found out today that I can pick my chair up, so I'm a little bit taller now.
So the light might cast a nice little outline. I don't got to sit there and fumble with it.
Exactly. Not just that, but I'm not hitting behind my mic anymore.
That is true. I did notice that. Yeah. Well, boys, on this week's episode, in case you're wondering what we're going to be talking about today, this is the debate episode. We all got debate topics, all got debate segments, so hopefully it gets rowdy. You know, it's good for content. It's you two I'm worried about. You guys go ham on each other. So we've got the debate hour segment, which I'll be hosting. I'll be giving these two 5 topics to, argue it out, see what happens, dish it out. We also have Dom's Would You Rather Fantasy Football segment. Now, I don't know what that quite entails. I know it's Would You Rather, like but how do we get about it?
Traditional Would You Rather, but with a fantasy spin. I'll explain the rules.
Well, I was going to say, we're going to get there when we get to it. And then we got more because, Nick cannot show up empty-handed, so he's got himself a segment. But we're going to save that. That's the last one. So, anticipation,
Secret.
And without further ado, Dom, the floor is yours for news. Take it away.
So, Justin Fields and the Jets are going to the Super Bowl as they sign wide receiver Josh Reynolds to a 1-year deal worth $5 million.
Broncos legend
I'm
Josh
not going to lie.
Reynolds.
I didn't know where you were going with that at first. And you said Justin Fields, and then I knew exactly where you were taking it.
Oh, you knew.
I knew exactly where you were taking it once. I was like, wait, what is he saying Justin Fields for? Then you said Super Bowl, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Yeah, this guy's taking on the league
He's bringing
next year.
them to the promised land.
I do want to point out. I do want to point out. We did not do it. The guy gets shot in the head. What did the Broncos do? Release him. He could come back with a level of play we'd never seen before.
He didn't last year though with the Jags, so
that's true. That's true. But I still think it looks bad on our part. You agree?
Oh, 100%.
I see what you're saying, but
if JSN got shot, you guys just like, yeah, we're done.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
There's a different talent level there. Wide receiver 1 versus Josh Reynolds.
But at the end of the day, this is football, and
you got to treat it with morals. Still, there's still ethics.
Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, you were just.
I mean, we shouldn't have cut him. No, but he's using your wide receiver 1 as the example.
That's true. All right, MVS. If he got shot, are you releasing him?
No.
Yes.
You just. All right, we got a lot of. Hypocrite.
Well, it depends.
Just continue.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Stop.
No, it doesn't.
Stop.
Putting that
You're gonna
behind
get us
us.
canceled.
Putting that behind us.
It is way behind us already. Put it in reverse. Let's go.
So, the Lions' proposal to eliminate the automatic first down and defensive holding and illegal contact did not have enough votes and will remain the same.
Nope.
This was something last week that we said was what? We didn't really have opinion on it.
Me and you were okay with it. Nick proposed that it entices to reward them almost.
Yep.
So, and I think me and you both said this. Either way, I really don't care which way it goes.
It doesn't matter to me.
But if it went through, I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah,
because
it makes sense.
Like we know at the NFL, if shit doesn't work, they fix it. It doesn't stay long. Nothing is forever in this league.
Sometimes.
But I've noticed recently, within the last 8 years, rules like this, it's come and go. They come and go as they're requested. So we'll see.
Okay, well, next up
we know
have
this one. There is no we'll see. We know.
Big C, Colorado, has given head coach Deion Sanders a 5-year extension worth $54 million.
Well deserved.
You do think so? I'm surprised to hear that from you. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's Deion Sanders, so...
Regardless you make the playoffs or not, they have qualified for bowl games. They have become relevant.
He flips the culture of every team he's been on.
And this will be the first year in 15 or 20 years, one of the two, where a player could be picked in the first 15 picks or first round of the NFL draft from the University of Colorado.
There's 2 of them.
Two of them, yeah. That in itself is crazy to say. So that right there in itself, even if you don't win a natty, you've brought enough attention to this university. So for those reasons right there, and I love Prime. Prime's one of my favorite players, so... Why is that funny? Why is that funny?
Logan Paul, bro.
I didn't mean Prime, unless you want to sponsor
Gabe
us.
loves Prime.
In that case, drink Prime. You won't win any boxing matches, but drink Prime.
Or wrestling matches.
Actually, wait, if you're Jake Paul, you will win.
Better start singing thick of it.
Debatable.
I was going to say, that'll get under some people's skin right there. Why'd you have to laugh? That was...
I don't know.
His nickname's Primetime.
That's not why I laughed.
Oh.
Unrelated.
Save that for after the show?
No, Nick's breathing is...
Guys, he's sick. He's no longer lethargic.
I'm wheezing over here.
So much for being serious, boys.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
He's no longer lethargic, guys. Quote unquote.
That is my exact words.
That was your exact words.
Well, next up, we have Pete Carroll and the glorious Raiders reviving Geno Smith's career. Also signing linebacker Devin White to a 1-year deal with an unknown value.
Washed.
Yeah.
One word.
Yeah. I wouldn't say washed. I would say nowhere near. I would say nowhere near what he was with the first 2-3 years of the Bucks.
So that means washed.
No, not
That is what wash
I think
means.
he's still serviceable.
It's like the period when you put him in the washer, but you haven't turned it on yet.
Just
that.
stop. What is that analogy?
The washer's filling up. It hasn't started spinning yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. Anyways, I think the Raiders are like the best team at picking up washed players.
I'm glad that you fixed that quickly because I was not following you for a second.
I think the Raiders are the best. There's a lot of ways he could have gone with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love my Geno Smith and Pete Carroll. No, I don't. You guys are traitors.
You heard it here first.
Pete Carroll isn't. He wanted
That's
to
true.
stay the coach.
That's true. Pete Carroll, you're okay.
They're just
Geno
ageist,
Smith.
and they didn't want him there anymore.
Geno Smith,
You're
prayed on
dead
your
to him.
downfall. I'm writing back to you.
You're no longer welcome back to Miramar, Florida.
Exactly. Miramar Smiths.
Miramar Smiths are
disbanded.
done.
Disbanded.
No longer expanded.
Next up, Texans have signed linebacker EJ Speed to a 1-year deal worth $5 million. How about we talk about that name? EJ Speed.
I don't want to talk about it.
I think it's a cool last name. What? That's it?
I agree. I agree.
I don't want to talk
I can
about
get
it.
behind that.
No, I did have something to say. I mean, it's a depth piece, but can we focus on the offense? That's where the true worries were this past season.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's only $5 million, but any help is some help.
The O-line.
I mean, I think D'Amico Ryan's got the defense figured out. Let's get the offense figured out.
I feel like
Cam
this is,
Robinson's going to help him.
Oh yeah. Hall of Fame first ballot offense tackle.
Easy.
like, getting like deja vu over here, signing everybody but an O-line. Someone for the O-line.
Some team does that too.
Yeah, the Seahawks.
Yeah, I didn't want to
Come
say
on.
it. I didn't want to say it.
No.
You got it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, something I'm very happy about. The replay
yeah.
assist has been approved. Patrick Mahomes, you can stop frauding the NFL now, and the refs can stop.
He was that excited though. He couldn't get it out. You were talking about this last week though.
I'm very happy about this, and I'm happy that it got approved so quickly.
I think this one was approved before it was ever requested. I think everyone wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, what can go wrong? I mean,
I think coaches were tired of getting fined for screaming on the sidelines.
Yeah.
This might eliminate 1 or 2 fines a game.
Yeah.
Or a season, I mean.
there you go.
So there you
Surprisingly, the NFL doing something that's going to cost them more money than it's going to make them. That's interesting.
Yeah, Roger Goodell didn't have a good day today, guys. He was pretty. If you didn't watch the presser, go check it out.
I'm sure his pockets are hurting.
They're not hurting. But he's not happy about what the league wanted because clearly he wanted
Womp
different
womp.
wants. We'll get to it.
Big
I'll
womp.
explain that afterwards. But
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to help me out with the first name here.
Calais Campbell.
Oh, I always say Calais.
Calais or
This is
Calais?
I say
Calais.
Calais.
I say Calais.
Calais Campbell. That rolls off the tongue better. Calais Campbell is signing a 1-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals, bringing them to the promised land, and he'll reunite with the team that drafted him for his 18th NFL season.
That'll probably be his last.
It's just unfortunate. This guy should have had a ring years ago. He honestly, if you go back and watch and look at his stats, was one of
He's
the
a
most dominant
dog.
defensive linemen. And it sucks that he had 5 years of his time in Jacksonville wasted.
And Arizona. His whole start of his
I-
career.
That too, but I really thought when he went to Baltimore a few years back, that was the time. Didn't cash in. And that's not his fault. I mean,
It's more like Zay Flowers' fault, I think.
What does Zay Flowers have to
yeah.
do with
Who's
that?
it's a shot at the producer, all right?
Fair. Next up.
Speaking of Zay Flowers, wow.
Wow. English.
Alma mater.
Wow.
I crapped on Dom for saying the and then I couldn't even get alma mater out. All right, go. You got it. I'm done.
Dino or Dino?
Dino. Yeah, his name's Dino, Dom. It's Dino.
Boston College wide receiver Dino Tomlin is pursuing an NFL pro career after 6 seasons and hopes to join his father in Pittsburgh.
It's Mike Tomlin's son. He has finally announced that he will be pursuing a career in the NFL after 6 long years of college football.
That's crazy.
Very likely will be undrafted, or else this wouldn't have come out. It's obviously
If you're playing 6 years of college ball, something's not right.
Well, our guy Bo Nix may or may not have played 5.
That's not 6.
It's still 5, but we'll save that for a rainy day.
Next up, that is not
That
my
is
piece
not
of
your
news.
Not your piece of news.
Wow. Well, Nick, you should have jumped on
Stepping
that
on
quicker.
my toes, though.
No, Dom,
Yeah.
I commend you for that. That was
Thank you,
elite
thank
timing.
you. I'm keeping it going.
Yeah, he had flow, awareness.
Awareness. I'll show you awareness.
Show me awareness.
Do it.
Do it. Prove it.
The Bills
There we go.
have signed Christian Benford to a 4-year, $76 million extension.
Did not think he'd get paid this much.
That's insane.
yeah. Did not.
Did you
think
want my honest opinion?
Didn't they get rid of something Alam? Is it Khalil? No, something. You know what I'm talking about.
They did.
You're
get rid
thinking of Khalil
Mack.
Shakir, right?
No.
No.
They're DB. He wears like number 46 or some shit. Wow, I'm looking like a no ball knowledge here. Keep going. I'll find it since you don't know ball either.
The Ravens have given their head coach John Harbaugh an extension through 2028. It's 3 years. It's a good move.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
it's a good move.
I was kind of right. Khair Alam. They traded him to the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, his career's over.
Jerry Jones is wasting
His
him.
career's over. It's over. It ends in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas,
man.
but except your career.
Yeah, especially if you go to Dallas.
Damn, I missed the John Harbaugh news. I really liked that piece. It's a good coach.
Do you want to
Say
comment
it
on
again.
No, you don't gotta say it again for the sake of viewers.
Moving on, the Patriots released really good linebacker Juwan Bentley, which leads me to say he is a Bronco.
Yes, sir.
If you guys pick him up too,
Bring
We're
him
going all the way.
to the Broncos. Put him with Dre Greenlaw. We have the best linebacker tandem.
If they can stay healthy.
Well, I don't want to say best. Yeah, top. We'll go top
Arguably
8.
the best.
Arguably, thank
Top
you.
1.
Arguably the best tandem linebacking group
Ever.
in the NFL this season.
History.
I wouldn't go there.
I would.
You're a confident guy.
I am a confident
Dom,
guy.
if you want to interject.
I feel like there's some bias going on.
I was gonna
There's
say
no bias,
I may
bro.
be
What are you
wearing
even
orange
talking
right now,
about?
but I don't think I could confidently say that.
I am wearing orange, and I can't confidently
I
say
think I
that.
just
So.
dislocated my thumb.
I heard that.
Dude, that was
It's like that
loud.
to suck. Moving on, speaking of Dre Greenlaw, we got some news this week that the 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan and their GM John Lynch, Broncos legend,
And Bucks. Get it right. Hey, that's my hometown.
Hey, get on with it. Get on with it.
Wow. Damn.
they flew out to Dre Greenlaw's home in Texas for a
All right, Mr. Dom.
last-ditch effort to re-sign him. Offered him more money than the Broncos ended up giving him. Dre Greenlaw said, "No, I want to go play for my childhood team."
Wow.
He signed with the
That's some
Broncos.
loyalty
he
right
did.
there.
He did play for the Broncos and his contract signing video. I wish we could pull it up. We don't have a TV in here, but he had his daughter or son point to the TV and said, "Daddy played for the Broncos." So I didn't even realize.
Not
this was
just
a
that,
full
but he
circle
grew up
moment.
a Broncos fan.
Yeah, he did.
Have you seen that picture of him with the Peyton Manning sweatshirt on?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't realize this was a whole full circle.
I
moment.
didn't either.
Yeah. But no, this came out yesterday, Sunday, even the
2
last
days
48
ago, I
hours.
think, yeah.
And I wanted you to share because when I read it, I was like, "Wow, that's actually
That's
badass."
big.
They go there, both of them, head coach and GM, to try to persuade and didn't. Get
I
it.
think
That is rare.
that's really healthy for just the Broncos
This
defense in
just-
general too. 'Cause
Yeah,
it just
this
shows
just
you
reminds me of you mid-season last year saying that when players stay loyal to a team, that shows a lot about their character and their play on the
Exactly.
field. So to
That's
me,
why I
this
was
is
so sad
huge.
when Tyler Lockett got released. I know it was at no fault of his own, but I did see reports of the Seahawks still being open to signing another veteran receiver. And
They
even
make
if we
more of an
sign-
impact than you ever know until they're gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he honestly made more of an impact than DK did even in his final
Oh,
year.
easily,
Yeah.
easily. DK was never that big. That's why I'm not terribly like I didn't want him to go. He was an amazing piece.
There's
but
so many routes you can go in the draft.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. He had no impact. So
again,
it's-
I love the scenario I'm
Yeah.
in. We've been through it. I love it.
Fair enough.
that he does.
We got another piece of news coming from all the coaches and owners meetings. Touchbacks will now bring the ball out to the 35-yard line instead of the 30. This is to drive more kick returns instead of kicking it out of the end zone every single
You
time.
said last week you weren't opposed to once you understood it. Now today you didn't like it. Can you elaborate?
Because I forgot the reason why they did it. I just took it at face value. Like, might as well just give them a touchdown if they're going to put them on the 35.
I feel
We-
like if somebody heard this like 5 years ago, they'd like roll
Yeah.
over. In
and
their
that's what
grave.
I was thinking. I forgot
Because
all
when
about
we read
this
the
new
report
kickoff.
out loud, when I read it, I think you already knew because you're the one
Well,
who
I
brought
said
it
it
up.
out.
Yeah,
I said
you
it
brought
out loud, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Wait, what
Neither
the
of us
heck?"
knew.
But now that you guys say why, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, because I went on ESPN last week and read the report out, and that you were like I said, you were the one who brought it up. Even me and him weren't even aware. Then you were completely on board with it then. So I just wanted to make sure you were still on the same page.
Yeah, I forgot this new
read
kickoff
the headline and was like,
ridiculousness.
"Screw that."
It's like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Look at what they did to my game.
Well, this next one I love, so I hope you guys are on board with me on this one.
So, as we discussed last week, the tush push was heavily talked about over the weekend and even yesterday, and it was not banned.
No,
Not banned.
And
It
up
was
until
tabled,
this
wasn't it?
morning,
Yeah.
which means they'll revisit in May. It's not getting
It's
banned.
not going to get banned.
This morning there were tons of reports saying that they needed 24 of the 32 votes, and that likely they'd already hit that. Then today around 3-4 o'clock, it
They're like,
comes out.
16?
Yeah, and then at a little after that, Roger Goodell, so that's where I want to talk about it. Roger Goodell has the meeting and says that he wants to work on getting it banned because of player safety.
Zero injuries have happened on this play, by the way.
Like, no, we got flamed in the comments. Apparently, Chris Jones got his little knee hurt in the Super Bowl because he lined up sideways. Don't line up sideways. What is that face?
Don't be a chief.
Oh, yeah, or don't be a Chief. Or don't play the Philadelphia Eagles.
Don't play football.
Yeah. No, I don't want to get political or anything, but I just feel like that is why you get booed off the stage at the draft. This is why they call it the No Fun League. Because yes, you're the commissioner, but you're not the commissioner of the people. We talked about this last week. Adam Silver of the NBA is the man of the people. He would come out there and say, you know what, the committee didn't want it banned, neither did the fans. We're gonna figure out a way to keep this, maybe incorporate a way to keep it safe, so that we can keep this and keep the innovativeness in the NFL. No, instead he comes out there and says,
Like,
we're going to table
if they
it
come
and
out
work
and
on
say
it.
you can't line up sideways against this specific formation, okay, I can live. I think it's still stupid, but I can live with that rather than just banning a whole play, because I think that's kind of stupid. Again, these players are getting paid millions. If they get
if you want to line up sideways, that's on you.
Exactly.
Nobody forced you to do
Not
that.
like that. It is assumed when you put on the pads before game time that you are risking whatever injury comes
It's a
your way.
dangerous game.
It is.
That's why
It's
you
just
get
gonna
paid
happen.
And that's not
millions.
even a football thing.
Any
sports,
sport.
combat sports, tennis, swimming, I don't care what it is.
You could get hurt walking
when
to
you
class.
play sports, you sign up and assume whatever injury comes, I ask for and participating in it. So for me, like I said, seeing Roger Goodell and seeing that clip, it really just rubbed me the wrong way. Why? No one wants it banned.
It's just so wrong from
Because people in the comments didn't come at us for us wanting it to stay. They came at it because we just had a bad take. And quite frankly, I really don't give a shit what you think.
I guess, but our point still remains the same. I mean,
Here it stands true because our own players and our own coaches want it to stay. You know, here's the thing. It's like, you want to run it? Learn how to run it the right way.
and the Pack, like, why? Well, Green Bay, why?
Because they're lost.
And for people who said it's not or it's not beautiful to watch, people bitch and moan
How?
that there's always been a rule that you can't push forward. We figure out a way where there's loopholes in the writing, where there's leverage. It's called using your brain. If you can figure out a way, that is art. That is manipulating the game to your advantage. How am I going to fault a team or a coach for that? Because if Sean Payton did it, and I was I am a Bronx fan, but I'm saying in this shoes, if that was our play, how would I feel if it's getting threatened to be banned? So now put yourself in the perspective of Philly. This cannot
would be
eliminated
upset.
from the game.
I'm upset
And
I'm not a
he said
Philly
it
fan.
perfect. It sets the worst precedent. And even with keeping the play, Roger Goodell did exactly what Dom said by coming out today and saying we're going to table it and work on getting it banned for player safety. What are you doing? You're not preserving any safety right now.
Exactly.
We haven't seen any major head concussions. We haven't seen an ambulance come out for this play. We saw maybe him walk off the field with an injury and get seen by a trainer. He hasn't torn ACL. I don't see the big deal.
Any given play, this can happen.
Exactly.
It's
That's
so
why.
stupid.
And to bring this up, because you wanted to bring up in the comments too, people who brought it up. That's why the hip drop tackle is not there, because we saw extensive injuries come out of it. We've not seen that yet with the tush push. Why get rid of it?
DeMar Hamlin died on the field from a basic tackle, so let's just play flag.
Well, one of us could die
That's
right
where
here
we're at
talking
right now.
too
That's where
abruptly.
we're at right now.
Like, it's just, I don't know. I'm glad it's here. I'm glad it's here to stay. Roger Goodell, you better watch yourself, because you're going to have a lot of unhappy people if something happens with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got 3 of them right here.
Yeah.
We'll let you know.
Let you know on the Turf Talk podcast.
We are not shy.
Nope.
For my last piece of news, another rule change before I pass out.
This is the second episode where Nick's been sick. Gotham
He's
momentum
dying.
is there.
I'll
My
take.
God, don't make
You
me
got
laugh,
it? Do you need me to take over?
I'm good.
Okay, he's good.
So
We don't have a medical team on standby.
we're gonna have to ban podcasts now.
Yeah.
They're
Oh,
dangerous.
Who's the commissioner? Peyton.
Yeah.
Peyton, the cardboard cutout.
So the overtime rule change was made, meaning both teams will possess the ball
Finally, it's about damn time.
with a 10-minute period in both the regular season and the playoffs.
I'm not asking you to extend the amount they're allowed to play. I'm not asking you to limit the amount they're allowed to play. I'm simply asking for you to allow both
Give
teams
them a
to have
shot.
fair
And another
shot.
thing that we
And
both
if you
wanted
fumble
and-
it, that's
on
on
you.
you. That's on you.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's our team. If you
We
fumble
did it against the
that's
Bengals.
Exactly.
I'm happy with the rule.
I can't. This is the most fair switch we've gotten in years. So if anyone
Exactly.
complains about it, you got to go find other sport to watch. On to mine. We got the method for measuring first downs, and I think Dom, you were the one who actually was okay with this, or one of you brought it up.
absolutely.
Yeah. The method for measuring first downs will switch from being chain gangs to camera-based system. So we're still gonna have the crews from what it sounds
Yeah,
like.
yep, so
but they're
good.
kind of
Yeah.
gonna be
Good.
on standby.
They're gonna be the backups.
Yeah, they're gonna be on standby in case something goes wrong or you need a second opinion, which
yeah.
I'm all for.
I want to
Should
keep
be
the
that
chain gang because
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
gives
I
like
don't
a
wanna-
traditional football feel to it. I mean, it just
Also, not to again make it political, you're erasing how many job opportunities in the NFL by getting rid of the chain gang. Like how many meme clips do we have because of them being on that film?
The index card?
Yeah, literally. Like that made Gene Steratore famous. That
Yeah.
clip. I mean, granted, he
Yeah.
was a great official, but I'm just saying, like, I want to keep human error in the game. That's what keeps it natural. That's what keeps it,
Yeah, I have
what
no
it is.
issue with a camera-based technology being.
works.
Yeah, assuming it works.
Take the season to work on it. Hopefully, they're already working on it now.
They should
but-
practice it in the preseason.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. See if it works there. That actually is something the UFL would probably do.
They're doing it right now.
They are, yeah. I was gonna say they probably are doing it right now. I love some of the things UFL has. Maybe the NFL will adopt it, which we'll get to later on. This I don't know if this piece of news is gonna hurt you as much, Dom. Nick, when you sent me this one actually not even hurt me. I was happy for him, but it's almost like a closing chapter.
It's like
My passion for sports started. Gosh, I'd probably say 9, 10 years old. 8 or 9 was when I finally established my own self. And the first show I watched on my own time that I found entertaining was Good Morning Football.
Yep, the OG4.
Yeah, and Peter Schrager, one of the best draft analysis. What would you? Analysts. Yeah. Personalities alone, just like carried the show and the energy and everything. He was like one of the last standing ones.
Him and Kyle are the last two.
Kyle's still there for however long. We don't know how much longer that'll last because I don't want him to be alone either. But
I feel like he just got to go just to get a new foreign.
Exactly.
Like,
but on a brighter note, I will say this. Peter Schrager is leaving Fox, the NFL Network. He'll be joining ESPN, which means brother is getting paid and is getting a bag most likely, and he's also probably getting creative freedom. And for those reasons right there, you have to be excited because this could be the next Pat McAfee. He's already great. Get him his own show. Who knows where it goes?
yeah.
So I love it, but it is, like I said, it's a closing chapter, and I think for me and you, especially because we both watch the show and we used to send clips all the time, it's different. It's weird. It's weird to think about. But knowing Peter, this is going to go great. And nothing's going to change in terms of how hard he works and what kind of content
he's very
we get
smart
out of it and all that. But Dom, like I said, I don't know where you stand on it, but now that he's going to be on ESPN, you're going to see his face a hell of a lot more because the NFL Network, you unfortunately, have to pay for.
Yeah.
ESPN, if you got cable, you're chilling. You got, I'm going to assume Hulu and Disney probably have. Disney definitely has the rights to ESPN because it's part of their company. But yeah, so you're going to see his face more often, which everyone deserves to. He's a great analyst.
I did hear something about the Red Zone guy.
Yeah.
Scott Hansen.
I was going to say,
Scott Hansen,
is it a contract thing? I didn't read into it. Is that what it is?
Yeah, something like it ending and then him going elsewhere because he wasn't happy with something.
That's crazy.
They're not happy with all the commercials just sticking in there.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I mean,
7 hours of red zone football. Come on.
Yeah, because it's
7
not
hours of commercial-free football.
But
That's what I paid for, Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
but we got to sit back and be honest with ourselves. How many things do we have now that are genuinely ad-free?
Who cares? That was one of them.
Snapchat now has ads. You have to pay for premium to not get a stupid pop-up.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, how is an app so simple that has not had any ad share on the front page where you text people now has ads?
I don't pay for Snapchat. I
will
paid
never
for
pay
Red
for
Zone.
Snapchat, but Red Zone,
I
yes, we do
paid
pay
to
for
get Red Zone. I
Yes.
better not see one advertisement.
My household does pay for Red Zone, so it is kind of crappy to see that now. But, you know.
I won't pay for it. I will not pay for it if you're showing me ads.
Football. I don't know about y'all. I mean, me and Dom got to watch football on Sunday.
Oh, I'm watching football. I'm not watching Red Zone.
You need to get Sundays off so you can come watch them with us.
Yeah, you can't stick commercials in Red Zone. That's the
whole
not if
reason.
You're gonna make people pay
that is
for
the whole
it.
reason me and Dom watch it. Only once you get the full immersed experience on a Sunday.
It's kind of like what Netflix does with their movies now. Like you literally pay for a subscription to still watch ads.
Peacock is the worst. So, you have to buy that.
I don't even have Peacock, and I still know.
My mom has a subscription to it, and I time to time use it because the WWE features all their shit on it. You can pay the base subscription, which is however much it is.
I think it's like $10.
$10 probably. Yeah, 99 whatever. That's fine. But you get an ad every however so
4
often.
seconds.
Yeah, and it's like 2 or 3 3-minute commercials.
You forget what you're watching.
To get completely free ad subscriptions, you need to then pay another probably $10, $20.
It's ridiculous.
At least.
Like,
Everything is becoming ad immersed.
it used to be like $5 a month, and you just get everything ad free. Now it's like $10 a month, and you have to watch ads.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Stupid.
Now, boys, I don't know how y'all are going to feel about this. I don't know how anyone feels about me plugging another thing, but it's football, and I think that it's worth talking about. Dom, I think this will resonate with you perfectly because you were our first class to wear the Schutt F7. If you remember the helmet you wore senior year.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So, Schutt has released pictures of the all-new Schutt F7 Pro. I will have send you the pictures so you can post them so people can see them. Mm-hmm. This was designed to withstand the demands of today's game of football and some key features. So let's get into that. The onboard air-to-lock system. So from what I understand, the pads inside are based on a certain the angle you hit at the certain air pressure will go through the pad and. I need to show you the graphic. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to move the impact rather than it just be...
absorb some of the shock.
Rather than it just being a meat impact to the side
These
of
look identical.
It is, but it's a little different. There's also a diffuser in the back of the helmet on the neck pad that lines on the back of your trap, I would say. It's an automotive-inspired rear diffuser, which helps the helmet sit lower for more coverage. So not as much head jamming and, getting jacked up, I guess. I never wore the F7. I hated it, so...
Yeah, same.
Not to shit on Schutt.
My school had
It doesn't fit bigger guys. That's what I'll say. It's definitely meant for skill players, but that's fine. It also is featuring the Tectonic Mohawk, which I think is the same thing that was on the other shut.
Yeah.
It looks like they revamped it a little bit, but I would say it's the same technology from that point. There's also the new midpoint hookup, so there's no like screws and shit. Like, it's all very clean looking and all that. Nick, you might have pictures, you're gonna be able to see it. And with that, there's also the all new switch visor, so no clips, easy installation. Can be taken on and off any point on the sidelines. So no more wide receivers throwing hissy fits in the NFL. No need to have fumbling with visors or any of that. Easy, put it on, take it off.
I would say I did love my F7 just because of how like it didn't impede on my visibility at all, being a wide receiver, and it was so light.
That's why I want you to speak on it when I'm done, because you got the experience. For me, it was hard. I was a lineman. It's a very tight-knit helmet, so if you have a big head, it sucks.
Yeah, so I will say with the F7...
And that's not a knock on shut. That's just how it was.
Just how the helmet's
and
made.
Same with Speed Flex for me.
I had a shut. It just wasn't an F7.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with the Rydell helmets, you have the adjustable air pads that sit around your head, so you can adjust the fit on Rydell helmets. With the F7s, you can add air to them, but it's not nearly as adjustable as those Rydells were. So I got lucky with my F7 because it fit my head perfectly, but I will say...
They're 3D modeled for the pro players. So.
Yeah, so once you put that thing on your head, I mean...
I never heard one player complain about it in terms of skill players.
When you first put your helmet on every year, you know those. For the people that don't know, you get really bad headaches. Like you literally have to break your helmet.
I had the same helmet for all 4
head.
years, and every year at the
when you start the
first
first 2 weeks, you will get the worst headaches ever.
Oh, yeah.
You got to run through.
And you have those
them.
big red marks on your forehead.
I had like a Harry Potter scar on my forehead.
With my F7, it was non-existent. I could slide the helmet on and off easily, cold or hot, and it fit perfectly.
That's what I'm saying. I wanted him to speak on it because not one skill player ever complained about the fit of those helmets.
Amazing helmets. So even though it wasn't fit to my head, it felt like it was.
I don't think they're comfortable, but some linemen in the NFL do wear them, but they're still doing this. They will offer a quarterback and wide receiver / DB specific version. Yeah. So it used to just be quarterback and then generic helmet. Now they're introducing the wide receiver DB. So you won't get to experience this, unfortunately, but I wish you could have done that in high school to get another.
We can buy one. That's like they're only $700.
I'm not dropping a bag
quick
on a helmet
grand.
I can't even wear. But no, I just wanted to touch on Shut's new thing. I mean, we always get hyped up about the speed flexes and all that. I think the F7 was the first big helmet Shut release that was like a genuine eye attractor. Yeah. So, and like I said, when our high school got them, he was the first class.
There was another helmet too that came out shortly after. It looked kind of crazy.
The Axiom.
Yes, that helmet.
I hated it at first, and they fixed the face mask now. I still am not a fan of it. I think it sits awkward on a lot of players' heads.
It looks like a turtle. Like
it's low profile. I don't like it. And apparently, this F7's low profile. So I was going to ask you, I don't know how much different this is going to be, but how did it sit in terms of around your neck area?
So it would sit just above the hairline in the back of my head.
The Riddell sat low, which I liked, really low.
So it sat a little bit higher than my Rydell, but it still gave me the coverage I needed. But the thing was, when you're a skill player, you have to be turning your head left, right, up, looking over the shoulder. You can't have it all the way down the bottom of your neck. You will not be able to turn your head with the shoulder pads on.
Yep.
So with it sitting higher, I liked it a lot better because I could turn my head all the way to the right without having to move my shoulders.
The view in the face mask on the F7s too, they wrapped like here, so you have full peripheral vision.
Yeah, but that depended on the face mask you had on. Because when I first started,
my Riddell, I had
no vision.
3 bars here, 2 here. So I literally only saw.
I had like a cage.
My F7 had like a cage when I first got it. I'm like, I can't see crap. I need this change. So I ended up getting an actual proper face mask.
As like a D end, it really didn't matter because everything I needed to see was in front of me.
That's why I didn't complain. Everything I saw was forward. I never got poked in the eye, so I can't complain.
Yeah.
But this one might piss people off. The NFL has updated their sportsmanship and conduct codes. If you didn't see this on Instagram already, buckle up. The NFL is up to 133% on violent gestures and 52% on sexual taunting.
By violent gestures, he means like.
Yeah, and then the
nose wipe for those people listening.
And then the sexual taunting is when Jahmyr Gibbs did.
He basically fucked the ground.
Yeah, any
That's the best way I
that
can
is legit. I'm sorry.
What's wrong with that?
I don't think it should be banned.
He's like dry humping the ground.
But it's a TikTok dance. Like they feature TikToks now on TikTok TV on commercial.
Stupid. Just for you saying it's a TikTok dance, I'm glad it was banned.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Though. That's what happens. Well, so did we hit the dab too? You're probably gonna. Yeah, you probably are gonna. Anyways,
Cam Newton, where'd that dab get him?
Anyways, an MVP. Anyways,
24-10 in the Super Bowl.
This is a quote from Troy Vincent, who wrote this report. In quotations, look, we got to be responsible adults. We're not trying to take away the spontaneous moments, but the shooting and the killing and the sexual acts, you're a professional. You did that in high school and Pee Wee ball, Vincent said. And this is not close quotes.
How many sexual acts are there in Pee Wee ball?
Yeah, I don't see kids driving.
No, he said you. Yeah, exactly. You're right. He did.
That is what he said.
Yeah. Well, I don't ever recall that in Pop Warner.
I don't know what the hell kind of Pee Wee ball he's watching.
I think he's just referring to your childlike mentality.
Self-report.
Yeah.
I think he's just saying, though, in that childlike mentality, that's years ago. You're now in the NFL. Let's represent it. But
Why?
close
Let's
quotes.
have fun.
I suppose, but yeah, you're getting paid millions of dollars. Give them some freedom.
How many people are going to
Up
stop
to a
watching
certain
football
extent.
because Jameer Gibbs humped the ground?
I loved it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, it's Jameer
But
Gibbs.
you remember the clip I showed you, the college football highlight of the guy who like broke down and like he was doing a celebration after a touchdown. He like pretended to kick down a door and then shoot up some building. that I can see.
That's the guy from LSU that I sent you his highlights. I'm like, wait, that's the wrong guy. But in close quotes, I just want to finish the report quick and then we can go back to it. The sportsmanship was addressed today with the owners and the video examples that were shown of players in the prior season. So my thing to that is I want to know what Dan Campbell is saying when he sees his players. And it was
must have been
multiple.
losing
It wasn't
his
just
shit,
Jameer.
dog.
It was him. It was
the wide receiver,
Amon
right?
Ross St. Brown.
Yeah,
It was all of them. It was all of the Lions team, actually. But I want to know what they were thinking then. And then the NFL has released an updated unsportsmanlike conduct code that has prohibited acts that will be penalized. In quotes, any violent gesture which shall include but not limited to a throat slash, simulating firing or brandishing a gun or using the nose wipe. The nose wipe's crazy. Nose wipe
That's
gesture
crazy.
or an act that is sexually suggestive or offensive. Now we can.
I'm sorry. If you want to go like this to your opponent, I'm fine.
So now let
I'm
me
fine
ask
with
you,
that.
what are your thoughts on what our ideal celebrations are and what the NFL is responding to them with? What are your thoughts?
So I think you can argue that it's too far once you're kicking down a door and pretending to shoot up
The
a
gun,
house.
I'm completely up for. Get
That-
rid of that. Why are we doing that? There's
that-
no need. You are
that's
not
too
gangster.
far.
You are not hood. Even if you grew up in the environment, you are now a freaking representation
now
of the
rich.
NFL. You are now rich. You are trying to set your family free. Why are you pointing guns? What are you achieving? You are not cool.
Ask John Morant how that went.
Yeah,
But I think it's like
he dunked on LeBron.
I think
the
it
other night.
was,
He's cool now.
Sir,
the Odell Beckham Jr. I think it was Odell. It could be AB too. When he like turned around and pulled down his pants to the crowd.
No, that's Randy Moss.
Oh, Randy Moss.
No,
Oh.
AB twerked.
It
That's
could be
what
that
you
one.
mean.
Isaiah
I don't know.
Crowell wiped his ass
that-
with the ball.
I think that shit's funny as fuck. Like, who's that hurting?
I don't mind it at all.
Like-
but the guns, yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
Like the
But
guns.
But if
yeah.
Jameer wants to get up on the field goal post and dance on it like it's something, then I'm not.
For real.
I'm here for
yeah,
it.
like when the phone
he's
was
having
pulled out
fun.
from underneath the. You guys saw?
Oh yeah, he took like,
he
a
took the
prop
phone
or
out.
whatever
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
I think
Or the
that's funny as
Salvation
hell.
Army bucket.
Yes.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Who is
that's
that hurting?
harmless.
That's promoting
The Salvation
Army. Yeah. So I don't know.
Like that's crazy.
I think we're blowing it a little bit out of
And
the
the
water,
NFL
but
can't just pick and choose who they're going. Like I'm pretty sure they find one person for jumping in the Salvation Army bucket, and then
it's
not
Zeke.
another
Zeke.
person.
Zeke. And then
Let's ban the Lambeau leap.
And then they purposefully put CD for the nose wipe. When a lot of players do it, but CD's is the. You know why they put him? His is the best one.
Yeah.
His is the one where you're like,
He's known
okay.
for it.
Yeah, because when he gets up and you have to look at him and your grown man just mossed you and he's doing that, yeah, you got bodied. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Get up and play the next play. Don't let it happen. So I'm here for it. Keep it. But I mean, now, here's the next question. Who do you think continues to do their celebrations
CD.
despite the fine?
Oh yeah, I
CD?
can see CD doing
CD?
it.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Probably Jameer Gibbs.
I'm completely
We'll probably
okay with
see it
Jameer,
once
too.
or
I
Probably
like
a
both of them.
Monra too.
They're all making so much money. What
Probably
does it matter?
every player in the league. Honestly.
It's gonna continue. It already has happened. They already find it anyways. Now it's just in writing. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just in writing now.
literally.
So to phase away from the NFL a little bit, we did just have the opening weekend for the UFL. If you guys are not familiar, that is our alternative spring football league. As Nick coughs into the mic,
Die.
he wants to die.
Ban podcast. It's dangerous.
It is. Yeah, me and you might get sick now.
Yeah.
But I wanted to share. I can say now, both of us. It was my team. Boys, we got Dom on board. The St. Louis Battlehawks opened up the UFL starting, we'll say 2025 season. I don't know what else to call it. Against the Houston Roughnecks. And Dom, let's just say this: they beat their ass 31-6.
My rip-off Seahawks, the
Whoa,
Battlehawks,
whoa.
kick some butt.
You need to find.
That's
a new
all
word
I know.
because they're too good to be calling a ripoff.
The
of
rip-off
team.
Seahawks is where we're at
no,
right now.
No, Dom, why would you say
The
that?
rip-off
So now you can't even
Seahawks.
be a part of
Yeah.
the crew. I was okay with you joining the crew. You can't be a part of the crew if you're going to slander my team like that.
Do I show up with a Renegades hat next week?
I think you have one.
I'm gonna get one.
I want to get a Battlehawks one and a flag. Their website's
Do they even
expensive.
sell them?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Rock owns it. Of course they sell merchandise.
Fair enough.
Yo, Rock, send me some Project Rock merch. Your shit's way too expensive for me to afford. I mean, yeah, I don't got anything else to say. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've watched the highlights of this game twice now. Manny Wilkins was not fantastic in the NFL, but he balled out, and he can extend plays. He ran over a defender twice, and one of the clips on Instagram was great. I won't say what was said, but just go on Instagram and check it out. It's on the Battlehawks and the UFL Instagram.
They broke the record for the longest run in the league history.
The Battlehawks?
Yep, in that game.
What's his name?
And then
had a gnarly spin, but it was on no one.
Another team broke it the day after.
All right, well, take it over.
So my Arlington Renegades mollywopped the San Antonio Brahmas 33-9. It wasn't close at any point in the game. Luis Perez is going to win MVP. We're going to the chip. We're going to win again.
Battlehawks.
We're going to win number 2.
Battlehawks. They're getting it this year.
Oh, do the Battlehawks have the King of Spring? That's his nickname. He's the only player to play in every single spring league.
Hakeem Butler?
I don't even know who that is.
Exactly. It's our tight end.
Exactly.
He's phenomenal.
Exactly. I don't even know who that is.
He was the face of
I'm not
UFL
afraid
last
of
year.
him. I'm not afraid of him.
I didn't say you had to be afraid of him, but you should.
We're going to go head-to-head this year.
Good. I hope so. Can we even... I don't know what the conferences are in.
No, we are.
We are?
Yeah, we're playing.
No, regular season, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm saying...
Not in the playoffs.
Yeah, not in the playoffs.
It might be in the playoffs, but I guess we'll find out.
That out
Time
later
will
on.
tell.
Hey, I think we start covering the UFL. It's only 2 months. Shit, come on, I'm down. I want to cover the Battlehawks.
I already know some of the players.
Hey, it's just our rejects.
Yeah.
Philip Lindsay was on the Seattle Sea Dragons.
They don't even exist as a team anymore.
No, and it sucks because they actually had a cool
They had a nice
I mean it was like
uniform,
silver,
a logo.
orange. Yeah, it was cool. I wish it was around because Dom probably could have been a Seattle fan for them.
There you go.
Save that for another time.
Next up, my games for that were played on Sunday the 30th is the Michigan Panthers with Timu Andy Dalton going against the Memphis Showboats. I mean, the Panthers pretty much, as Nick would say, mollywopped them 26-12. Yeah.
They had some nice unis too, I'm not going to lie.
I like everything the UFL had to offer.
Just because it's different. We're so used to the NFL ones, I think to see something different is
But even like college.
It's
like,
loose. Like, it's just, it's not your typical standard formal look.
It feels like football, unless like a job.
Okay, I get where you're going with that now.
What were you gonna say?
I thought he was gonna say like soccer or some dumb shit.
These are guys playing for the love of the game. It's not guys playing for a paycheck.
Yeah, AJ McCarron played for the Battlehawks last year. He's been out of the league for like what, 8 years?
At least
something like that.
Yeah.
Alabama legend, but did nothing in the league.
Well, next up we have the Birmingham Stallions versus the DC Defenders.
Why do they have a more badass name than the Commanders?
Yeah.
The DC and Jordan Taiamu, my
DC
quarterback.
won the chip last year, didn't they?
Yes, my quarterback who got me into the St. Louis Battlehawks in the inaugural season of the XFL is who leads the DC Defenders. And I don't know if you guys know Jordan Taiamu, but he's a great quarterback. Just not when he's in the NFL. He was Patrick Mahomes' backup 2 years ago. So Nick probably hates him now. But he is the quarterback for the DC Defenders. And the Defenders will continue to win, probably.
Defenders won against Stallions 18-11.
By no means was it.
Which is a weird final score.
Yeah.
Well, so they allow the different points.
Yeah, they have the conversions and all that, but...
Mr. Destroying himself, Donald De La Haye, did not make his first field goal, but he did land his first ever pro field goal. So that's all that matters.
There you go.
That was in my game.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You just say it, so I wanted to point it out there. I love Destroying. I used to watch him as a kid, so.
I didn't. I had nothing against him, but...
Great football content. His old content.
Yeah.
I don't watch it now, but his old content was insane. All right. So, boys, it is debate hour. So I hope you guys got some animosity built up. I hope you guys have some different opinions. If in the first one, I think we'll get us started perfectly.
I think all my opinions have been very well.
I don't need you to well support them. I need you to well debate
received.
him. So, boys, are we ready?
Yep.
The first debate topic I have for you guys: who had the more dominant defense, the no-fly zone or the Legion of Boom?
No-fly zone. No question.
Are you serious?
No question.
No question.
No question asked.
Over Camp Chancellor, Richard Sherman, in the what the fuck?
You got him to say it.
And the Legion of Boom, are you kidding me?
So you just named two players.
We would watch Richard Sherman save players from Cam Chancellor's hit because it was that powerful.
So
we watched Cam Chancellor absolutely destroy
So why did
Megatron
Malcolm
himself
Smith win MVP of that Super Bowl and not one of the members of the Legion of Boom?
Bobby Wagner played.
Then why does that matter? That's completely irrelevant.
One of the players from the Legion of Boom did not win that Super Bowl MVP.
Why did the Broncos lose 48-8? Whether
Doesn't
related
matter.
or not. Exactly. Okay, so we're even. It doesn't matter.
Why did the Panthers look like a high school football team stepped onto the field at Super Bowl?
Because this guy wasn't ready to play, so something had to work on the other
Hey,
side
bro.
of the ball.
He did his best.
Sure.
He converted a 2-point
All right, you're
conversion.
debating him, not me.
The Legion of Boom. Yeah, you can't even hold eye contact.
I'm gonna have
with me.
asthma attack.
Yeah.
You're giving me an asthma attack, Dom.
All right, let's do this a formal way. Legion of Boom over No Fly Zone. Why?
Legion of Boom over No Fly Zone. Why? Because Legion of Boom's a badass name. No Fly Zone sounds like
So that's not a
what
reason.
Children call
so
McDonald's
that's not
play
a
place.
reason.
I think it's
Okay.
and anyways, that's my chain. You think of you okay.
He doesn't
Okay.
have a reason.
Yes. Tell me the top 5 safeties ever to play football.
Ever to play football?
Okay.
Troy Polamalu, not a member of the No-Fly Zone. Ed Reed, not a member of the No-Fly Zone.
Steve Atwater.
I'm gonna go Ronnie Lott, not a member of the No-Fly Zone. Steve Atwater.
Got one more.
None of those guys played for the No-Fly Zone.
Brian
For my
Dawkins.
last one, I could go Brian Dawkins. I could go literally any player
you
that
don't
wasn't
think-
in the
you don't
No-Fly
think-
Zone.
you don't
I
think
don't
Cam
think Cam
Chancellor
Chancellor is in the top 5 all time. Absolutely
He's
not.
also not in the No Fly Zone.
Absolutely
He's in
not.
the Legion of Boom.
Yeah, whatever.
Different.
Whatever.
Let me know when you're finished.
I will let you know. Don't
Okay.
worry. I keep losing my train of thought. Anyways,
Because he doesn't have
okay.
one.
On a side note, did you guys hear that Richard Sherman just got his house broken into?
I did.
Old news. Tapping
Yeah.
argument before.
And in the picture, they put him in a 49ers uniform, by the way.
Disrespectful. Disrespectful. He's a Seahawk at heart. He played for someone else.
Finish your thought, Bucks.
The Bucks, yeah.
You'd be screwed
Yeah.
playing Who Am I?
Yeah, he did play.
I'm
for
about to
the Bucks, yeah.
introduce Nick's side now. If you keep stopping.
Anyways, you had a defense that was so dominant that the only reason they lost that Super Bowl was because they just of an offensive mistake, not even a defensive mistake. I mean,
That's your case.
that's my case.
All right, Nick. No Fly Zone over the Legion of Boom. Why?
We are talking about the most dominant defense ever. Regular season, postseason, Super Bowl. Think about who they played just in the postseason run. They played Ben Roethlisberger, Tom
Ass.
Brady, and MVP prime Cam Newton.
Ass,
Obliterated all of them.
because he's ass.
I'm not even going to entertain that. I'm not. They
talk about
they
all the
had
games they also
Bradley
played that
Roby
season.
looking like a Hall of Famer behind Chris Harris Jr., Aqib Talib. Danny Trevathan was a dog in the middle of the field.
There's more.
Not to mention Super Bowl MVP Von Miller,
And?
who Gabe argued was the best defensive player of our generation.
Did they not lose that game?
And what? We won.
They did not lose that game, if that's what you're asking. Moving on, we had
Chris
Derek
Harris.
Wolfe, Chris Harris Jr., we had Shiloh Keogh, all right? Darian Stewart, one of the hardest hitting safeties of our generation.
Not as
Todd
hard as
Davis.
hitting as Cam Chancellor.
That's debatable.
Todd Davis.
That is
Todd
debatable.
Davis
but
was a
not-
dog in the middle of the field. We
Yeah,
had
you keep helping
Brandon
him.
Marshall
Ward.
in the middle of the field. TJ Ward, another hard hitting safety. We're going to name every member of that defense.
sorry.
You named 2 players.
I know this is not my time.
You didn't
to
even
debate.
talk about Earl Thomas.
Oh, Earl Thomas. Yeah, when he flipped off Pete Carroll off the field.
Well,
Malik
you got
Jackson,
Richard
Malik
Sherman
Jackson.
and Brandon
Showers, Brandon Browner.
Brandon Browner.
He
That's what
doesn't
I'm
even
talking
know
about.
their name.
Brandon
They
Brown-
are irrelevant. He doesn't even know their name. We just named every single member of the defense. He can't even name 4 players.
Okay,
What'd
and
you
you know
call
what
him?
they did?
Nothing.
You know what they did? The Legion of Boom led for 4 seasons. They led defenses in scoring.
Big
4
whop.
seasons. What do you mean big,
Big
whop?
whop.
For 4 seasons in a row, the same
was a
defense.
For 4 seasons.
For 4 seasons
This is the
in a
guy
row.
we're going to take seriously.
4 seasons in a row.
4
The
seasons.
Legion of Boom led defenses in scoring.
Are you fact checking? Are you debunking him?
No,
Oh, no.
no, I'm
Fact
doing
check it,
something
fact
else.
check it.
You debate this for a second, because I'm going to look something up.
Yeah, but you're under the bus now.
You want me to debate this now?
No, this is for him to debate.
Okay.
You can't help him.
Yeah, you forgot. What's his name? There was one more player that you forgot that I really wanted you to mention.
You know what? You know what the Legion of Boom did? They completely embarrassed the Broncos in the Super Bowl.
So the
there was
NFL
a reason
top 10
that
defenses
Peyton
of all
Manning.
time, look
Can't
at
take
who
that
the
away from
picture
him.
is of.
Yeah, they do that for number 10, so because the builds.
Oh, do that.
Yeah.
Because number 10, look at who's the honorable mention.
I see the Miami Dolphins of 1973 on the bottom.
Look at the picture. That's Richard
That's
Sherman in a
bullshit.
Seattle
That
Seahawks
is
uniform.
bullshit.
BleacherReport.com.
The Legion of Boom was
Number
so
10 is the
dominant
Bills.
that they beat the Broncos by 40 points. They let Peyton Manning, a Hall of Fame quarterback, put up nothing but 8 points.
I will give Dom this. It was in Peyton Manning's best season, unfortunately.
In Peyton Manning's best season.
They had one very good game. The Denver Broncos, no-fly zone, had an entire season.
That's it? That's it? Because I'm pretty sure the Legion of Boom had 4 dominant seasons.
Whoa. The no-fly zone was a 2.5 seasons, 3 seasons?
Probably more than that.
More than that, yeah. It wasn't like a...
They were the Super Bowl we played against you guys. They were missing Champ Bailey, Von Miller, Derek Wolfe, Chris Harris Jr.
Yeah, that
okay, and your offense could only put up 8 points.
What does that have to do with the defense?
You still have, exactly. I'm talking about because your offense couldn't score against the Legion of Boom.
Our defense had like third string Shanghai Shark starters.
I'm talking about the points your offense put up. Yes, the defense has an impact on how the offense plays, but your offense should still put up more than 8 points in a game to help the defense out.
The offensive coordinator was Adam Gase.
Okay, so why are you bringing this up?
Because Adam Gase is terrible.
What I'm telling you is that the Legion of Boom from 2012 to 2016 was the best defense in the league, hands down, and one of the best defenses over the no-fly zone in the NFL.
The no-fly zone is the best defense ever over the 85 Bears, over the Legion of Boom.
Wow. Bold statement. I like it.
I'm standing with it.
Okay, well.
They were getting like 5 turnovers a game. That is unheard of.
And did you lead the league in scoring defense for 4 years, 4 consecutive seasons? Probably. You don't know that for sure. Someone fact check them.
You do it.
Right,
You're so confident.
Is this the end of round 1?
Yeah.
That was round 1.
All right. Topic 2. You guys might be able to agree on something for once. So this will help you settle down a little bit.
I doubt it.
I paced this a little bit. The officiating in Chiefs game is not as bad as us fans make it out to be.
I think that's
worse.
I'm just kidding. I
was going to say, no way y'all just fucking disagree on that.
No, it's absolutely
it's
train wreck.
atrocious. It's
God,
hard to watch.
All at once.
The Eagles lost a Super Bowl, the biggest stage in America. They lost on because of
a ridiculous
bogus
PI.
What was it? Holding off the offensive holding or some shit? Defensive.
James
holding.
Bradbury,
like a
Juju.
tiny little tug, tiny. Like you
He
need a
didn't even
microscope
touch
to
him.
see it. Ridiculous.
Bring out the index card.
Where's Gene's territory? That one was quick. All right. Again, you guys might agree on this one. The 2-minute warning is pointless and should be scrapped.
No. We
you
need it because it's great for the strategy of the game because you can use that as a timeout. It's a good pacing point for I think the offense because you say, hey, we can either use up the 2-minute warning, we can save it. It's an additional timeout. If you're winning and you got to run the clock, well now you have the 2-minute warning to deal with. It's essentially an extra timeout for the team that's losing.
Exactly.
They could just add strategy.
Because I think I gave you a bunch of easy ones since the first one I had to, I guess. Number 4. Should roughing the passer be reviewable?
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, just look at Patrick Mahomes. If he breaks his ankle on some stupid...
Yeah, breaks his ankle.
Yeah.
What does he do? Like purposefully roll it, sit out for 2 plays, and then come back and he'll
go
miraculously
he got his own Netflix episode out of that.
Yeah, he'll go off to the sideline, cry a little bit, and then 3 plays later, he'll be back in, like, running on it, and the whole crowd will be like, oh my God, he's a superhero.
He's superhuman.
He's like God. Like, no, he's just a baby.
He's a bitch.
Clip that. Oh, all right. Should the UFL become a full-time NFL minor league or remain as the alternative spring football
it needs to
option?
stay as its own thing.
Stay as its own thing because
it basically is already the minor league.
But you don't want it to be a
But I don't want it to be
developmental
officially
like
the
NBA.
minor league.
You don't want it to be like that?
Nobody
Because
watches the G
The
League.
G League?
I don't want it tied into the NFL in any way because I want it to kind of stay.
Yeah, it needs to be its own thing. It needs to have its own rules, its
Exactly.
own...
I agree, but I think without any partnership, it's going to lack. Look at the attendance record.
They have The Rock, which is something the other leagues didn't have.
And even with The Rock, look at the attendance.
It'll go up.
You think? It's been 3.
We're sitting here talking about it right now. Last year, I barely watched.
Really?
Yeah.
I've always tried to watch the UFL and the XFL. You know, honorable mention, just to stir the pot a little bit more. Sam Darnold will make the playoffs in his first year with the Seattle Seahawks.
Yes.
Make the playoffs, I could see it because that division is so bad.
Honestly,
No
he's got a
offense.
point.
No offense.
Well, we still have the Rams to kind of contend with, though. We're just stealing their players at this point. The 49ers are just selling their whole
The
team.
49ers are out. The Cardinals aren't even
The
an NFL
Cardinals
team.
have-
They're
yeah.
going to get demoted to the XFL in a minute.
Literally. So my conference is kind of a joke right now.
And I
but-
think Mike McDonald's a decent enough head coach. He can get that defense straight.
So thank you, Nick.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, boys, that is all I had for the debate hour. We had really one.
Wow,
topic
we had one
that-
debate.
we had one topic that really set you guys over the top.
I'm happy that me and Nick can agree on more than we disagree
You
on.
needed to after the. I knew the first one was going to get you guys,
Yeah.
but
Well, next up, guys, we have my fantasy football Would You Rather. So just to explain some ground set rules, what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to give you a Would You Rather scenario between two fantasy football, so any football player.
And are they both going to be the same position?
Yes. So
Okay.
I'll do them in position, starting with wide receivers and going down the list.
sounds good.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you guys a name, and I need you guys to approach it both from a real life standpoint and a fantasy standpoint, and tell me who you would take
Buddy,
and
I
why.
approach fantasy from a real life standpoint. That shit is my
Exactly.
life.
I got
So-
3 straight chips, so
There you go. And then I will present you guys with the statistics of the last 2024 full season, and I'll see if your guys' opinions change at all. So starting off, would you rather Brian Thomas Jr., the wide receiver for the Jaguars, or CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver for the Cowboys?
CD.
Gabe, start.
Brian Thomas Jr. easily. I had him all.
are we
last-
talking for 1 year or for like a dynasty?
Well, fantasy is 1 year.
We'll go 1 year.
Well, some of them have like the dynasty leagues for fantasy.
That's true, but we'll go standard.
We'll go 1 year. Okay.
As
I-
of last year. 1 year.
I had Brian Thomas Jr. last year that I drafted in hopes that he would be the way he was, and what he was he was for the last 6 weeks of the season averaging me, between 17 and 23 points a week.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb I also had very inconsistent at times, does not get the ball a lot. Maybe that's the offense, maybe that's the city, but when it comes to fantasy, man, that's not my problem. So I'm going Brian Thomas Jr. at my receiver.
Okay. Nick?
I'm going to say you can't go wrong with Brian Thomas Jr. I would take him in a heartbeat over a lot of players, but I feel like you have to go CD just because his quarterback situation is more stable if Dak is healthy. Obviously, last year that didn't happen.
But that's my other point, though, is even with Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence and having their ups and downs, we still saw a production out of Brian Thomas Jr.
We did. Absolutely.
Fantastic
But he's their
production.
only offensive player because Evan Engram was out like the whole year.
I mean, you could argue who was the better receiver that last year, Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas.
Absolutely.
That's a legitimate
Brian
argument that
Thomas,
can be
he's a
that can be
dog.
made, yeah.
You can't go
LSU
wrong with him.
receivers continue to thrive.
But I feel like CeeDee Lamb has that higher 1 year ceiling.
Mhm.
Like he can get you like 55 points in a game. I think he even did it last
I
year.
would say I had him all last year. There's a lot more lows than there were highs, but I can see your side of
The
it.
highs are so high that I feel like you need to take the chance.
So now giving you guys the statistics. Brian Thomas Jr. totaled 284 fantasy points, played 17 games, and averaged 16.71 points per game. Now, CeeDee Lamb totaled only 263.4 fantasy points. However, he only played 15 games and averaged 17.56 points per game. So while Brian Thomas Jr. did outscore him in total fantasy points, CeeDee Lamb did technically average more points per game.
I can hear Nick breathing. Like
But I can't. I'm out of breath, dog. Like I can't breathe right
he's
now.
getting passionate about it.
But yes, I can see the
Asthma.
argument for both sides. Brian Thomas Jr. technically did do more good, but if CeeDee Lamb played for the full 2 games that he missed,
There's no
he would have
guarantee of that.
ended up putting.
And there's no guarantee anybody plays the whole game.
All right,
Or
Dom,
Aaron
let
Rodgers
you be
tore
the
his
deciding
whole leg.
factor. Who would you go?
Who would I pick? For the sake of being stable, Brian Thomas Jr. And I had CeeDee Lamb last time. You were very correct. His high put up 50 points a game for me, something crazy. But then he'd go on the next week to put up 5.
No, next 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, and then it got to be so dramatic, I could never pace my team. It's why I end up so mid, because my team would go off 1 week and then the next week do complete bad. Yeah, shit.
There you go.
So did any of your guys' opinions change after getting
Nope,
this
not
up?
at, not
I'm gonna
at all.
stick with him. I'm gonna stick with
Not
CD.
at all.
Okay. So next up, this is now under running backs. Would you rather Saquon Barkley, running back for the Eagles, or Jahmyr Gibbs,
I know what he's trying
running
to
back
do.
for
I
the
know what
Lions?
he's trying to do.
Saquon Barkley.
Why?
Zach Charbonnet.
Saquon had the best running back season last year. One of the most dominant players. Again, drafted him 4th overall in our draft last year. Never had a down week from him. Even the weeks when they pulled him out of the game early, still had at least 18 points on the board. First week of the season, got me 3 touchdowns, 2 receiving, 1 rushing. I'll take it. Great, consistent player, and the top of the line for like the elite of the elite. That is what I've got to say. Saquon Barkley, 24/7.
Nick?
I agree.
Okay.
I got him in the second round. Somehow I'm in a league with a bunch of
I
casuals.
don't know how the hell you did that.
He just fell in my lap. But he dragged me to a championship.
He dragged you.
He dragged me.
think he
He
carried
grabbed me by the neck and dragged me.
This is like the third episode where he's gone somewhere different with it.
Okay. Well, for statistics,
I don't even need to hear him. I
Saquon
know
Barkley
he-
put
yeah.
up 355.3 fantasy
Yes,
points,
sir.
while Jameer Gibbs
Give
put up a staggering 362.9. So Jameer Gibbs did outscore Saquon
yeah, but
Barkley.
Saquon sat.
However,
in the last game.
Saquon only played 16 games and averaged 22.21 points per game, while Jameer Gibbs played the full 17-game season and averaged 21.35.
I'm banking on Saquon any day. I don't care what the numbers are.
He was running back one for a reason.
Unless he becomes Christian McCaffrey. Then in that case, then we have a different story. But for right now,
Christian McCaffrey didn't play for the Giants, though, so that's why
This is
he
true.
I knew that. I didn't need you to tell me.
Okay, next up, we're going QBs. Would you rather CJ Stroud, QB for the Bears? I mean, wait, hold on.
Definitely not the Bears.
Caleb Williams, sorry, buddy,
Yeah,
you're
CJ
done.
Stroud is not a Chicago
CJ
Bear.
Stroud, QB for the Texans, or Caleb Williams, QB for the Bears? Would you rather?
Neither.
Yeah, I was
Geno
just saying, this is terrible.
Nick, pick
I
one.
was saying
Nick's
Nick go
going
first.
first.
I'm going first. I'm gonna go CJ, just because he has more experience and he doesn't play for the Bears, which is a big draw for me.
Okay.
I think playing for the Bears is like an automatic. Don't draft this player.
Even in fantasy?
Yeah.
Okay.
DJ Moore proves that correct. It's not even the Bears thing for me. It's Caleb doesn't produce yet. He's not consistent.
Yeah, he's just a rookie.
There's no film to back drafting him over CJ Stroud. For those reasons, CJ Stroud is my pick over those two.
Okay. And would you guys believe me if I told you that Caleb Williams outscored CJ Stroud 254 to 220?
It wouldn't shock
It wouldn't
me.
shock-
I mean,
yeah,
CJ
I was-
Stroud kind of sucked this
Yeah,
year.
sophomore slump. We're going based off of his worst season.
Okay.
So-
Well, Caleb Williams did average 14.97 points per game, while CJ Stroud only averaged 12.96. They both played the full 17-game seasons.
Quarterback.
So,
Christ.
yeah.
I'm glad I had
So
Joe Burrow.
I tried to throw you guys off with that one. It's interesting to still see you guys pick CJ Stroud despite Caleb Williams out fantasying him. Fantasy?
Because what that is with fantasy is it's any given week he decides to put up a lot of points, whereas CJ Stroud could have had a consistent basis of like, let's say 16 points to 17 points a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where Caleb probably had like a 4-week stretch when they were good of 18, 22, 18, 21.
Yeah.
Like that's where I see it lying.
Okay. Well, next up, we're on the tight ends.
Yep.
Would you
One
rather
of them.
Zach Ertz, tight end for the Commanders,
That's
or
underwhelming.
Jonu Smith?
Jonnu.
Jonu Smith.
I'm going to take
tight end
Jonnu
for the-
Smith. He was having decent games, actually. I had him on my bench as a backup.
This is hard. You know, I'd probably go Zach Ertz.
They're probably putting up
I
similar
was
numbers,
gonna say he had
honestly.
very consistent production.
Yeah.
He's just old. That's all it
Yeah.
is. And I'm not here to shit on someone just because they're older in the end of their career.
He's probably good
still
for a solid like
producing.
9 points a game.
Yeah, he's still producing. He's better than most tight ends are nowadays. So.
Okay, so Zach Ertz totaled 177.4 points for the whole season, played 17 games, averaging just over 10 points per game,
That's what I expected.
while Jonnu
Yeah.
Smith totaled 222.3 fantasy points, played
He was
17
balling for a
games,
little bit, yeah.
and
Yeah.
averaged 13.08 points
He's
per
on the
game.
Dolphins, right?
So in this case, yes, tight
Yeah.
end for the Dolphins. In this case, Nick, you would end up on the higher end of the stick with Jonnu Smith averaging almost 3 points more per game than Zach Ertz did.
I think especially with the tight end position, it really comes down to preference too. Like it's a matter of
Well,
how the
you had a
sticks
lot
fall.
of people
Yeah.
that thought Mark Andrews was going to be great this year, and he ended up being absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
I was unfortunately one of them.
Yeah, I think a lot of us were because in one of my leagues I was unfortunately the guy who drafted him in the 3rd round.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? We're gonna take a kind of whiff on this one and see what happens.
Yep.
Mm.
I ended
Boy,
up with
did
Zach
I.
Ertz, so he kind of just fell
He's
into
just,
my lap.
but it's
He was like the mid tight end that I could still get.
he's just you can't complain.
Yeah,
He gets
I
everybody
couldn't.
when he gets
He
you.
got me some points.
Yeah.
So when I first started this fantasy season, I had Mark Andrews and Dallas Goedert. The fantasy AI thing
Oh
told
my
me I had
God.
the best
Why are you
tight end
using
duo
the fantasy
in the league.
AI thing, dog?
Well, because it just sent me an email, and I was like, "Oh, I'll read it." And it was like,
I didn't get one.
They
This
have,
kid told me that. I didn't get one.
yeah, they have
Everybody
the
gets
best
one.
I
tight
didn't get
end
one.
duo, and I'm like, "Oh, nice."
It wasn't
Tight end
in my
duo
email.
sucked.
Was not in my email.
Ended up
Check your
dropping both of
spam.
them.
Why would it?
Well,
Maybe.
next up we have the exciting kickers.
Oh, great.
Exciting
Would you
whites.
I hope
guys-
you didn't pick Justin Tucker.
Justin Tucker?
Don't worry, I didn't. I said, would you rather Chris Boswell, kicker for the Steelers? I'm gonna ignore that.
Dude, yeah.
Or-
no one will know until the YouTube comes out. Restart.
Would you rather
Yep.
Chris Boswell,
Okay.
kicker for the Steelers,
Yep.
or Brandon Aubrey, kicker for the
Aubrey.
Cowboys?
All day, every day. Not a
Bro
question.
is banging 57 yarders like every week.
Okay, you guys seem confident
Yeah.
about that. Well, Chris Boswell did outscore Brandon Aubrey.
I don't care.
I don't
Brandon Aubrey is my
184 to
fantasy guy.
178, and
The only
average-
cowboy that
Chris
deserves
Boswell was
attention.
kicker one, I think, wasn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah. I'm still taking
Well, when
Aubrey.
you're in field goal range every play and you never cash in for
Exactly.
touchdowns with
When
Russell
your
Wilson.
quarterback doesn't run the football,
Well, are you guys thinking more real life or more fantasy at this point?
real life feeds into fantasy.
Yeah, I would say that is my real life. That
Okay.
is my reality. My reality is whatever fantasy brings me.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. Well, on the last I got for you guys is defenses.
No flex?
No flex.
Bruh. The flex is the key component in fantasy.
Well, we're skipping flex today. We're going defense.
Broncos.
Would you guys rather the Houston
Broncos.
Texans defense or the Philly defense?
Philly. What? Dom, come on.
What?
Houston had.
He's going to say Houston outscored him.
I don't care. Houston had a drought from weeks 1 to 8 where they didn't do anything. Will Anderson did not take a step of his own until the final 6-7 stretch.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So I don't
Nick,
care what they
you
did.
would be correct. Houston did outscore the Philly defense 141 to 132.
That's bonkers.
The Houston defense averaged about half a point more per game than the Philly defense.
Don't
did.
care.
I mean, Philly also sat their starters for the last week. Plus, they missed Jalen Hurts against the
validating my point
Steelers,
for
I
me.
think. So, with Kenny Pickett, you're not going to...
Kenny Pickett.
He's
Exactly.
a Super Bowl champion.
That he is.
He
But
was
when you're
Super Bowl
missing your
champion.
He threw one
MVP,
ball.
when you're missing your MVP level player, you know, your defense is going to suffer
Did you
because
guys
of
see
it.
that ball that Kenny Pickett threw where he tried to pull it back when he was mid-throw and he ended up he tackled himself in the
Oh my,
process.
that's like
He-
Brock Osweiler throwing it backwards.
Kenny Pickett is the only guy who can get a fake slide banned in college football, so therefore he is.
This
the
is
MVP.
true.
I
He's the
remember that.
MVP.
Pitt legend Kenny
He
Pickett.
is the MVP for that reason and that reason only.
Well, that sums up my Would You Rather segment. It's interesting to see you guys taking real life perspective over fantasy points.
Like I said, I stand by it. Fantasy is my reality for that. However many months it is, 7-8 months. No, not 7-8 months. 4 months.
It also just goes to show you
Feels
how
like 7-8 months.
how awful a team or a player can play in real life and still produce on
Yeah.
fantasy.
You can have some bad players in real life do pretty good for
Absolutely
your
phenomenal.
team. Yeah.
I mean, there was the Colts wide receiver. I forgot his name.
Alec
Alec Pierce, right?
Pierce,
Alec
yeah.
Pierce. He was insane
Yeah.
in fantasy. He'd
Bro
put-
did nothing in terms of helping an actual game, but man, if he caught those 250-yard passes
Yeah.
from AR, you were set.
Yeah.
Was it you that had him?
Yeah, it
I
was
was gonna
me.
say.
I drafted him. I picked him up as a free agent, and then everyone's trading me for him. I'm like, I'll keep him. He's producing for
Yeah.
me.
He's doing better than CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, literally.
Pittman didn't do anything. He did.
Pittman didn't do anything all
Yeah.
year.
That's why when they always said Denver could trade for him and he was on the trade block,
I
I'm
don't
like, I
want
don't
him.
want him. Don't want him. I'll stay
I'll
content with.
develop the young guys.
Yeah, I'll stay content with any other guy.
Vele, Troy Franklin, Court.
Valet, I cannot wait to see. I'm sorry, I don't want to board Dom. All right, Nick. The stage
All
is
right.
yours. You are the main event of this week's episode.
Oh boy, this is gonna be underwhelming then.
This is. Don't breathe too heavy.
So I have asthma, which is why
Introducing the segment, he goes.
I was gonna. And then I
Okay, well, tell me the segment.
So
Damn,
I have
Mr. Dom over here is impatient.
one question.
Okay.
All right. We've been seeing an uptick in players holding out because of contracts. They want a new contract. They're complaining about it. So they hold out and they don't play. We saw this with Hassan Reddick last year,
Okay.
right? You're probably going to see it with Jamar Chase,
Almost saw it with Miles
T.
Garrett.
Higgins, Miles Garrett. The list goes on and on.
The end for the Bengals, Trey Hendrickson.
Yep. Trey Hendrickson's doing it
Happening
right
right
now.
now,
We're
yeah.
probably going to see it with Zach Allen and JFM.
We better not see
Unfortunately.
Zach Allen. We better not see a holdout with him.
I don't know if we will, but we definitely will with JFM. I can guarantee you that. Court did it last year. He did not participate in OTAs.
I'm okay with that. Whatever. as long as the contracts get signed.
Do you guys side with the players that we should hold out until we get a new contract, or do you side with the owners that say you signed this contract, you need to honor it?
I'll
let you first.
So it depends the scenario for me, but in 90% of the cases, I side with the owners.
Okay.
Because as a player, you're still getting paid millions. You sign the contract. If you're Myles Garrett and it's just all money, like that's crazy. Come on, man. You're Trey Hendrickson. You're still making millions, dude. I get you deserve a lot more money, but you're still playing out the contract that you agreed to, you signed. So you can't blame anybody but yourself for signing that contract, staying with that team for what you agreed to stay with them for. And in my opinion, I think you should be able to cut their pay if they decide to sit out, because that should not be an option. The team is banking on that player to play for them to sign that contract. That's just my opinion.
So look, now we're caught up in fan bias because this is exactly where fans are like, well, I don't want to see that. Let's put yourself in the shoes of the workman. This is a job at the end of the day. They're technically a part of a union. That is exactly what the NFL is.
Okay.
So now taking into account, when you're working, you look for leverage when you're working for a raise.
Sure.
You often can threaten a fake job opportunity that you don't even have, but you will do it to
Myles
get the
Garrett
raise.
just did it with the Browns.
So when you say you sign that contract and you know how long you're there for, of course, everyone has an idea. That's what you have to have on paper. But what's not known is the quality of the play they're going to get, and nor does the player. I myself never knew what I was going to be senior year, sitting sophomore year. So now put that in the NFL's perspective. Benito could sign a 4-year contract tomorrow. In that 4 years, he could turn into something better and bigger than Von Miller. No, let me go. Could turn into something bigger and better than Von Miller ever was. Do you think he should just keep that pay because of that reason right there? Play needs to coincide with how you are being paid too.
You signed the contract.
But if you play better, you should be rewarded
then you
for
have
performance.
incentives. You have incentives. Work that into your contract. I get what you're saying.
Look, I don't like
it,
but that's
don't
the
sign
fan
the
bias
contract.
in it.
Sign a 1-year contract.
Okay, so here's the thing then. Let's say Cole signs you to a 5-year contract at minimum wage, but you bust your ass. You work 7 days a week. You do more and beyond.
Okay.
I'm demanding a release.
Yeah.
So you're okay with? You should be okay with the holdout then.
No.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's playing
It's not the
leverage.
same.
Yeah, but
look, we don't like it as a fan, but you got to look from the business aspect.
But
you're playing a game.
ROI is the biggest thing for a player too. You know, they can't just sit in a city and rot with the contract they have. I understand at a certain point, money is money. You got enough of it.
He's making minimum wage. They're making millions upon millions of dollars.
Yes, but that's the level of minimum wage. If
What
your play
other job?
exceeds what you have,
what other job can you just stop working to demand a pay raise?
Exactly. You're
There's
getting
no
fired.
other job.
you can do that
anywhere
anywhere.
else.
It's called you get fired.
No. Yes,
Exactly.
So
Why
he can get cut, but how are you going to hate on him for holding out?
Because the
He
team still
agreed
has
to the
pay
terms
for
of the
it.
I
contract.
think one of you at a time. I'm hearing both of your guys'
Go
lovely
ahead.
voices.
Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't hear it. I need you to elaborate.
At the end of the day, it was the player who agreed to the contract. Why should the team pay for a player that they are paying?
Do you hear how
agreed to the
shitty that sounds?
But no,
Womp womp.
what do you mean? Does it sound shitty? Like womp the fuck womp.
Okay.
If I told my boss right now, I said, hey, I'm not working until you give me a raise, they're gonna say, go to hell, get out of here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Let
exactly.
me flip the script. This podcast takes off, makes a fuck ton of money.
Okay.
I signed
I'm
you
holding out.
to mediocrity deals just because let's just say that's the money we're making. I signed you deals that are adequate to what we're making.
Okay.
Follow me with there, okay? You're following?
Yeah.
Yep.
I start seeing a boost in money and views and everything. Numbers are flying off the wall. I'm not going to pay you guys any different because I'm making more money off the show.
Did I
Is
sign a
that fair to
contract?
you?
Did I sign a contract with you that guaranteed this?
Sit there and honestly tell me you would not ask for more money.
I would not ask for more money.
I don't believe that for one second.
Listen, no,
I'm not asking for money right now sitting here.
I know, but I'm saying you got to flip the script. You got to understand in the placement of the work.
But it
at the end of the
pretends
day,
a scenario.
So
no, listen.
So PS2,
listen.
when it comes 4 years, if he's excelled defensive player of the year numbers now, do you not want him to get paid more because he deserved it?
Guys, listen.
If he will take less, I'm going to pay him less.
If I'm sitting here,
They don't want to take less. That's the thing.
Womp
Would
womp.
you want to take
Womp
less?
womp. I wouldn't want to.
Listen.
But you should
Gabe,
for the betterment of the team.
If we're going back to the podcast scenario you brought up, I'm gonna ask you a question. Did I sign a contract with you?
I said if we did. Hypothetical. This
Okay,
is all
okay, so we do
hypothetical.
have a contract worked out, which means I agreed to the percentage of the cut I'm taking. I agreed to it for that
but
X amount of years.
If you are working great and you are helping me produce tons of money and
signed
views.
it. I signed the contract that told me
Okay,
my
but
pay.
if you sign the contract at that state and you are producing tons of views, you are making my pockets actively bigger. You are promoting the product and making it better than it was.
Then maybe I should have thought more about the contract.
You found it better than you left it.
See your own value.
You're not going to ask for more. You are not going to try and entice me to give you more money for your performance.
I may try to rework my contract. I'm not going to sit out.
That is the player's version of sitting, reworking is by sitting out. It's
You shouldn't be able to do that. It's not leverage. It's just you sign the contract.
What is it then? They're not breaching the contract.
I know they're not breaching the contract, but it's kind of like a loophole that
exactly. There should that's contracts.
There
you go.
Doing conduct detrimental to the team.
Yes.
You are now hurting not just yourself, but you're hurting the whole
It's
team
in
as a
a
whole.
No, they're not, because you just said it
Yes, they
yourself.
are.
They're already making money. They're already making the money. The money's been guaranteed.
But
What does that have to do
the
with team
has to
chemistry?
pay them. Not just that, but you're now losing a player like Trey Hendrickson.
What do you want me
sits
to
out.
talk to first?
That's the key. That's the key piece of the Bengals defense that's just going to sit out now, but they still have to
So
pay.
you
so
don't
they can't
think
sign
Trey
anyone
Hendrickson
else.
deserves more money?
I do agree that Trey Hendrickson deserves more money.
I don't.
So if he holds out, you don't agree with
but
that.
I also see.
Why
don't
are
agree
you
with
going to
that.
work for? Why are you going to work for in his eyes no money?
Because he signed the
No
contract.
money.
He's getting paid to what
Dom,
he agreed
tens
to.
of
busted
millions of
his
dollars.
ass and exceeded the contract's expectations.
Then
When you
guess
exceed
what? Then
expectations,
guess what?
you get what?
Work,
Rewarded.
Work incentives into it. You saw Russell Wilson's contract. He's getting paid $10 million
Of course he
flat
goes to
salary.
Russell Wilson's contract.
But he has.
He knows that
He
by
can
heart.
double his contract with incentives that go up to $21
He ain't
million.
gonna get it.
But okay, but that's still there for him to achieve. He can still
he doesn't
get paid.
achieve it. These players are achieving
Okay,
it.
but that's the thing. You can't hold out and demand more if you suck. If you suck too
A lot
much
of
to
these
get the
players
incentives.
hold out because they have exceeded the expectation of the prior contract.
Did Hassan Reddick exceed expectations when he sat out for the Jets all year?
No, but that's a whole different scenario. He held out because of the situation of the team, not the situation of his contract. That was the whole reason he held
Yeah,
out.
but-
Did he want to get traded there? Let's go back to that.
What
Who
other
cares?
job
No, he did
can
not
someone
want
get
a
paid for
contract.
sitting
Womp
on their
womp.
ass?
So if Giant
You're playing
Pizza sent your
football.
ass to Johnny's Pizza,
You better bet I'll be working for Johnny's Pizza.
bullshit.
If they're paying me the same amount,
What other job can
don't
someone
care.
sit
I'm not
on their
going-
ass and get paid millions by their choice? So you're saying now
Elon Musk, any political official,
you're saying that
this cardboard cutout.
yeah, but now you're saying
he did the work.
it's different. It's different. I couldn't just go sit on my ass right now
You
and
can
make
say
millions.
a bunch
for a
Well, of course,
contract.
you don't have
what?
anything
I
to make
agreed
millions.
to.
You're not in a field of making millions. You don't have anything to make millions. You've done
And
nothing
that's
to
the
earn
thing.
millions.
They are making millions. So they're making astronomically more money than I'll ever see in my
If
life.
you're asking me, Gabe Dowd, the fan, of course, I hate it. You're asking me in the eyes of the player, put yourself in their shoes.
I don't. I think it's just immorality
And
and a
that's the thing.
stupid
That's
loophole
you.
that's
We're
getting
here.
exposed.
It's childish.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah,
because you're not going to get me
exactly.
to agree at the end of the day.
It's greedy.
That's like
Because we see people do it all the time, Nick.
it's like people throwing temper tantrums and saying, "Yeah, I'm not going to play now because you're not paying me enough." Even though I agreed to the contract, I signed it, I agreed to the money.
How many corporate businesses, how many businesses we watch, including in sports media itself, fail because people want to get paid. Talent want to, they exceed the expectation. They expect reward and compensation
Yes,
for it. When you
so
don't get the
when your
compensation,
contract
you
works,
pack
your
the bag and
contract-
leave and it falls apart.
We've
when your
seen-
contract expires, then you get
yes,
the money.
exactly. Because then another team will take you and maybe they'll pay you.
In these contracts, which you guys are failing to mention and realize, there is negotiation periods. In year 3 and year 4, there is sometimes a void year. Do you know that?
yes.
Okay, so in a lot of these situations, Trey Hendrickson is approaching year 4 of his contract. He's been in negotiation year. The period's been open since last year. Nick Bonito is now in negotiation.
Yep.
If he chooses to hold out, that is his choice. He's allowed to do so. It is in the negotiation period. Therefore, it is completely acceptable and is understood. Sean Payton and all them
Okay,
know this.
so I'm gonna bring
George
up a
Payton
player
knows
that-
players do this.
So what did
Players
Geno
do this,
Smith
but it's
do?
not okay.
What did Geno Smith
If it
do?
wasn't okay, there would be a lot more restrictions.
His
to it.
contract
There would be a
didn't
lot
expire
more.
yet. His contract didn't expire. He wanted to get an extension that was worth $40 to $45
In his
million.
negotiation period, it was the final year of his contract.
Exactly.
Do you
But
understand that?
He still
you
got.
don't. You don't.
He
no,
still
no, no,
got
no, no, no.
paid more and did not
Dom,
sit
in
out.
combat sports and in physical sports, when your body is the demandment and that is the actual tool being used to make the money, you do not play the final year of your contract when you are the star of your position and you hold yourself in that light. When you have when you need financial security, and that's
They
the whole
have
reason.
financial
Yeah,
that
they
is
have
the-
plenty of money.
Okay, so
Money's
what's the
not-
argument
Just
for
don't
Russ
spend
then?
it like an
That's the
idiot.
whole argument for Russ. He needed the stupid clause for his injury thing.
Yeah.
That's financial security. That is an equal holdout. Yes, we made him hold out. We are the ones who sat him. But when a player does that, that is the exact same thing with the role switch. If a league can do it, a player can do it. That is how it is in business. Unfortunately, that is the way it works. That's how it goes. I mean, I hate to break it to you, but you can give me all the reasons and all you things you have. I sit here and you got to separate fan from being in the shoes of the player.
If I'm the
clubs do
player,
it.
let me do that. Let me entertain this for a second. If I'm the
You're
player,
not gonna entertain it, but
I'm going to entertain it. I'm going to entertain it.
All right,
All right.
let's see it.
If I'm the player, right? I'm on the last year of my deal. I just had a career year, MVP level year, right? I'm getting paid league minimum, let's say. Obviously, I'm going to want more money, okay? I'm going to say that. I'm not going to be happy with the league minimum, but I am not going to go to a point where I'm going to drag my whole team down because I want to be a crybaby loser instead of just playing football.
A lot of these players have the ability to do so. Myles Garrett could be in conversations with your Aaron Donald conversation last week.
Sure.
He can do that. He has the resume. He has it all to
Sure.
back it up.
But he signed a contract.
Doesn't matter.
It should.
It should. You signed
Do you want
your
me to
name
find common
it.
ground with you? That is something to go. That is not my pay grade. I am not there to call that. But with the current state of contracts, the wording, and how they work, and how the void year, you got to pay mind to that. No one ever reads in the contracts. We did it with the free agency. We look over it. We just say, okay, there's the money, there's the years. That's what we're gonna go with. That is
and
never.
then all this other
that is
news comes
never
out
the
like, oh, they
state.
can cut him after 1
Patrick
year. They
Surtain
can.
is signed through the 2029 or 2030 season. I
Yep.
guarantee you, in 2028, there will be a reconstruction or an extension made.
Sure.
There's negotiation periods built into the contracts. That's not public. That's known.
Yeah.
When you get into sports management, when you get into the specifics and the unknown things of the paperwork inside of football, the business side of it, because at the end of the day, it's more of a product. The same thing with the McDonald's discussion. That's not a fast food industry. That's a real estate. That's really what it is. So when you get down to the contracts of that, like I said, it's a union. There's periods in the contract. Now, what I said, I will find common ground with you. Should the NFL spend more time on this rather than worrying about the tush push? Maybe. Maybe that's the conversation and question you'd ask. But as of how it works now and how the wording is in the contracts, if clubs can do it, why can't a player do it? That's where I stand with it. Now, you ask the player, the person wearing a Bronco sweatshirt, yes, of course I hate to see it. The player's being a little bitch. You make $29 million, I make $16.35 an hour. You got to separate it, though. There's a fine line. That's the only reason that's where I'm going my approach with it.
Now, I'm going to put words in your mouth here for a second, but I think you're going to agree. You're saying the players make up the league. The players make up the bulk of the product that we see.
Yeah,
Right.
without them, what do we have? We have logos
So,
and a field.
let me say
And a
this.
stadium that goes bankrupt.
If the entire Broncos roster decided to hold out, they all want new contracts. None of them are going to play this year. So the Broncos
forbid.
brought in a bunch of freaking high school bums. You better bet I'm still watching all 17 games.
Are you?
Just like
Are you?
if the real guys are playing.
Are you?
100%.
Nick, I
If
know
anything, I think it'd be entertaining. At
I
that
know
point.
the fan you are. There's no way in hell you're watching that.
I 100% am. I went 10 years without seeing my team even sniff a playoff game. I basically did watch that for 10
I was
years.
gonna say you never watched the good part of it.
Exactly. So why wouldn't I watch this? What incentive do I have to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to watch now? Who cares? If you are suiting up as a
I
Denver
wasn't talking about
Bronco,
from the fan perspective. I meant fan perspective as in how I feel like you guys are talking right now. I'm not talking about
Yeah.
am I not going to turn on the television and watch it?
sure. But
that-
you're saying the players make up the league. Those players are replaceable.
No. Fan loyalty only goes so far. Guarantee it.
I disagree.
I think there's a lot of aspects to it and a lot of
I
different
think
ways
we
you
can
can
veer
look at
this
it.
anyway. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
This can go any way you want it to
At the
go.
end of the day,
As long as you can push a narrative, you're going to get your narrative pushed.
at the end of the day, it's just how you look at it.
Exactly.
And-
Like there's no. It's not personal. Like it's just.
And
it's,
again, me and Nick don't think it's something that should happen, but I think Gabe, I think we both brought up some pretty good points as to why it should and why it shouldn't happen. At the end of the
again,
day,
this is a topic for
it's
the
something,
NFL meeting, not the Turf Talk podcast.
Yeah,
But-
and it's something the
I mean,
NFL
shit, if
has
we want
to
to put it in our
address.
hands, I think this would go on and on for a day.
Yeah.
But, you know,
It's already been like 15, 16 minutes.
Yeah,
I don't hate it.
so
If it took that long and needed to be had,
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
why I brought it up.
yeah,
well,
I
there you
think
go.
it was.
So you said it was be underwhelming.
I said it was gonna
think
be
it was a pretty
underwhelming.
damn good main
yeah,
event.
yeah.
Better than the Jake Paul Tyson fight.
Well,
Yeah.
that's not much competition there, Gabe.
With how staged
I
that
stayed
was.
up until 1 o'clock in the morning for that.
Yeah,
This
that
was
shit's
less
buffered.
staged than that was.
It is last stage. Because last stage is
I didn't know what he was going to ask. So, I mean, that was a stage for me. He's dying. I better finish the show before he dies. All right, boys. That is all we have for this week's episode. If you guys ever want to collab or work with the Turf Talk podcast or sponsor us, reach us at gamedownpodcast@gmail.com. That is the best way for us to reach out to you in a timely, professional manner. And with that, join the episode. Join the huddle.
So good.
Join the huddle and join the talk with the Turf Talk podcast.